So I was browsing Amazon the other day. You know how it goes. And I stumbled across this PC case by a brand called Morovol, or Morovol. Anyway, it looks like a great case for the price. Tempered glass, RGB fans, pretty great hardware support. So without any further ado, let's check this thing out. The unboxing experience is nothing special. Just a cardboard box, some protective foam, and a plastic covering. In regards to the foam, it's okay. It seems pretty thin, and it doesn't feel super protective, but my unit did arrive unscathed. Let's move over to the design and build quality. Overall, it's pretty good. Of course, you got that hinged tempered glass side panel, which is a nice touch. Structurally, it's a pretty solid case, being comprised largely of steel and plastic. Now this is a micro ATX case, so it only supports micro ATX and mini ITX motherboards. Moving along the front side of the case, you'll of course find that plastic mesh front panel. When you pop the front panel off, you'll notice a couple things. The front I/O is not attached to the front panel, which is definitely a plus. And the mesh holes are fairly large, which is a good thing for airflow, but not so great for dust accumulation. Behind said front panel are the two included addressable RGB fans. And along the top, you've got your power and reset switches, a couple USB 3.0 ports, and your headphone and audio jacks. You'll also find that there's no dust filtration over the top vent. The rear side of the case is a pretty standard affair, although I would like to point out that the PCIe expansion slot covers are the punch-out style, not the reusable kind. Along the bottom, you've got felt-covered legs, a couple Phillips head screws to secure the hard drive cage, and the only bit of dust filtration on the entire case. The side opposite the tempered glass is covered by a pretty typical steel side panel with non-captive thumb screws. Beneath that panel, you'll find the bag of hardware and all of your internal connection cables, along with the integrated fan hub, which controls the fans and the LEDs, and is SATA powered. Unfortunately, it uses proprietary connectors. For storage, you'll find a removable hard drive cage capable of supporting 2 drives, one on top and one in the cage itself, and a removable SSD caddy. Taking a closer look at this side of the case, you'll notice several cutouts and a fair bit of room behind the motherboard tray for cable management. One final thing I wanted to discuss before I actually, build a computer in this thing is radiator support. So the rear can support a 120mm radiator, whereas the top can only support 2 120mm fans. As for the front, it can accept up to a 260mm radiator. Yes, you heard that correct, 260mm. Now I assume this is just a typo, but perhaps there is some obscure 260mm AIO that I'm not familiar with. Regardless, let's build a PC. So here's the finished product, and if you're curious about what parts I used, I'll have them in the description below. Cable management is pretty darn good in this case. All the cutouts are positioned well, and there's plenty of tie-down points for easy routing. The fan controller secures with some pretty strong adhesive, so I just stuck it somewhere I thought it might not get in the way. Just to wrap things up, these are what I consider the biggest pros and cons for this case. For just $60 at the time of filming, this case is easy to recommend to anyone who's building a computer on a budget. It offers very solid functionality, and it even manages to throw in a little pizzazz along the way. Well, that's going to do it for this case review. Thanks for watching, hit all the buttons, and have a good day.